Had to run that thing twice for my people, man. Had to get y'all right. It's your boy Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability. You see the shining forehead. It's the man behind the microphone. You are tuned into another edition of Mike Ryder Talks. I got a special guest on the line with me tonight, but before I get into that, I want to get into this. Mike Ryder Talks is live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Right on time, like always. Facebook, YouTube. Like, share, comment, subscribe, whatever you need to do to get hip to this. We about to get into it, man. Let me get into my sponsor. Y'all know I deal with the cook shop. Let me make that a little bigger. Let me bring that stuff in real quick. The cook shop, man, you can find them at phone number 478. Matter of fact, let me start calling it out. It's at the bottom of the screen. It's on the ticker. You see it right there. They have products that help you with relaxing. If you're like me, your mind is constantly rotating. They have natural, handmade products that help you to relax, help you to calm down, help you get a better night's sleep. They have products like their salve. You rub that thing in. You got the coffee. It brews just like Folger. You got your CBD oil. Self-explanatory. You got my favorite, that tea. With that tea, you already know. You boil your water like you're going to do any cup of tea. Pour your water in your cup. Put your bag in the cup. Let it steep for about 10 minutes. Voila. Great night sleep, relaxation. You will be on it. Holla at the cook shop. The address, 600 Guy Payne Road, Building 2, here in Macon, Georgia. The website, thecookshop.com. The good thing about them, you can order off their website. They deliver local. They deliver national. You can hit a promo code when you're about to check out. Promo code is Mike. Type in MIKE. That gets you 10% off. Mike. Promo code 10% off. Don't forget, it's the cook shop. They're here to help you, man. Holler at them for the relaxation. And let me get to my guest. All right, tonight, let me get that off of here. We saving lives tonight. I ain't wasting no time tonight. We about to get into it. I got a guest coming from the middle Georgia area. That Macon, Georgia area. You know what it is. It's a Macon night. She is the owner of Affinity Care Solutions, LLC. She is a mother, a hardworking woman. Now, guest, if you want to show yourself, turn your cam on, turn your mic on. Come on and get with me. Selentria Kendrick, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, and you?
Man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. You're new on the show.
Yes.
Introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Selentria Kendrick. I am a Macon native. Born and raised in Macon, a Southwest patriot. Let's see. I'm the proud owner of Affinity Care Solutions. I also own Kendrick's Notary Services, but today we're just focusing on Affinity Care, where I am a lead CPR instructor.
Let's get into it. How long have you been running this business, ma'am?
Actually running the business since 2018.
2018?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 3 years under your belt as a business owner for Affinity. How many years have you been teaching CPR?
Actually since 2016. So about 5-6 years.
Since 2016?
Yeah.
Okay. That ain't bad there. What made you want to get into the CPR instructing?
Actually, my last place of employment, they were just looking for some, couple of volunteers to become trained so that we can actually go out in the community and train people. However, they had us trained and they just never did anything with it. And so I sat on the certification for like a year or two before I actually decided to make it a business. And so when I did start making it a business, it started out as just like a little side gig. I would do it on nights and weekends. And then after leaving my job last year, I just made it full time.
Let's get it. Left the job, made it full time. You love what you do?
I love it. Yep.
And you know what? Let's get straight into it. So CPR, there are a lot of different fields of employment that require CPR. Can you give a rundown to the listeners on what may require it just off the top of your head?
Yes, a lot of people think it's just medical, like doctors and nurses or CNAs, the aides and stuff, but actually it's not. Daycare workers are required to have CPR. Actually, construction crew, especially the foremen, the leaders in construction, they are actually required to have it. That's a requirement through OSHA that makes them have it. The pharmacists at your local pharmacy have to have it. Um, it's actually just like I said, a lot more. I think they said not allowed the high school seniors are having to have it before they can actually graduate.
And that's
So it
something
just,
that's very important to have.
yeah.
And I ain't mean to cut you off. I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Finish your statement.
Well, no, I was just, like you were saying, the different types of people that have, and like I said, a lot of people think it's more medical than anything, but it's actually not. I've actually had to go on the Air Force base and do people, and they were all contract workers that do engineering. So if you're going to be out there just working around certain machinery, and stuff like that, because you have to know first aid. What happens if you're in a warehouse and you're doing packages and you cut yourself, you cut a limb off? They have to know how to
Mm.
stop that bleed, how to save that limb. So actually, management in a lot of corporations have to know CPR.
And you know what? I'm glad you got to that because when we think of CPR, we think of mouth to mouth resuscitation.
Correct.
We think of pumping the chest. We think of bringing someone back. But you also can help with an injury. Like you said, if you cut a limb, you need to know how to
Hmm.
stop that bleed. So CPR can teach you things like that, correct?
Correct. And the CPR is the actual process of you actually helping to restart the heart if the heart stops. So with CPR, you're just actually doing your compressions, which is pumping into the chest, and then you can give breaths, resuscitation breaths, if you want to put your mouth on the person. They also have what they just call hands-only CPR, where you don't actually do any breaths and you're just giving your compressions. As far as the being able to deal with certain illnesses and injuries, that's actually follows up under the first aid class. So most of the time, people get it together. Most jobs are going to require you to have CPR and first aid, and so they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay, look, for anybody tuning into this who haven't watched before, I'm very interactive with my audience. If you have questions or statements that are valid, you put it in the comments. I will put it on there. Me and my guest will interact with you. I have someone, Rhonda Pierce. Shout out to Rhonda, man. She's a big supporter. She said, I had to
Yeah,
have it when I worked at Central State Hospital, had to get recertified every year under Central State. Shout out to you, Rhonda. Then I had someone here, Facebook user. They said, how often do you get recertified?
actually, now the certification is actually good for 2 years.
Okay.
Hmm. And
Certification
that's
for 2 years. So,
And that's
okay, go ahead.
under all the major organizations, whether you're getting it up under the American Red Cross or American Heart Association, whomever, it's a 2 year certification period.
Okay, so I see that you have these mannequins right here in the images. Those mannequins you take with you to instruct, to show people proper ways to administer CPR.
Correct. That's my team.
That's your team.
That's my team. So they don't
The
talk back.
mannequins.
They help make money. That's my team. I take care of them. Yep.
And how effective is it using these mannequins to show live people how to administer CPR?
Actually, those right there are effective because they have what they call feedback devices in them, and they light up. Once you start compressing in them, those actually light up, and so that you're able to see if you're doing it. So it has like a little coding system on it. So before I get my clients to pump it into them, I tell them what the light signify. So like if they get a red light, that means they're not pumping fast enough, or they stop pumping. If you get a green light, that means you're doing the correct number of compressions with the certain with the correct depth and speed.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah. So it's not like I just remember when I took CPR back when I was 15, 16 years old, and back then we didn't have feedback devices. So you honestly just pumping and not knowing exactly how far you should be going. But now they require you to have the feedback devices in them. So it actually shows you if you're doing it correctly or not.
That's fire. That's fire. I like that how far technology has come to
Mm-hmm.
show us, lifelike experiences with a doll. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And the good thing about CPR certification, like you said, you don't have to be in the medical field to get this. Actually,
No.
People, we are in 2021. We see where people are losing their lives daily, especially around the middle Georgia area. We
Yes.
got people dying left and right. So if you get certified in CPR, this can help you in your personal life. If you're just around the house, you have a minor. How many of us have children? I know myself, I have a daughter. You yourself, you
Mhm.
have a son. Plenty of these young women and young men have children. Let's say your child swallows something. God forbid they do. Let's
Mhm.
say your child swallows something while they're just crawling on the floor, picking things up off the floor. Let's say they pick up a nickel. Let's say they pick up, let's say a peanut, what I'm saying, that they didn't chew. They swallow it and it get lodged in their throat the wrong way.
Correct.
Being certified in CPR could help save your child's life. This is something that we need.
Yeah. And then just to speak on it, saving a life and why you would think a person in the community, which we call what we call as a lay person. A lay person could just be a person that's not medical or anything, or not even required to have it, but they're just getting it for their knowledge. So if you Google and look to verify what I'm saying, like when COVID first hit, like in New Jersey, and then when it hit over into like Arizona, um, due to the shortage of ambulances, and then the hospitals were real crowded and they didn't know what was going on and how to handle COVID, the EMS personnel were being told to kind of make that decision on their own if they would even bother to resuscitate a person. So, and that's like the
Mm.
first time in history, because normally when you call it EMS, they're under oath to come out and give you all they can to try to bring you back. But it was like they would get calls. So if they would get a call and they get to your mom's house and you start rattling off this list, like she has cancer or she has this and that, and she's 90 years old, they were pretty much kind of leaving some of those people there, just like, it's nothing we're going to be able to do for them anyway. It's kind of like they're going to die anyway. So you would think if you're calling 911 to save your loved one's life, whether it be your mom or your child, that person is coming to save them. But to know that they could actually come and turn them away or not do what they needed to do. I think at the time when COVID first hit, they also were scared and didn't know how contagious it was. So once again, they were left with the decision of, do they even want to put their mouth on a person?
Right.
And so,
Right.
if that were to happen, I would feel better knowing that I was able to save my own loved one than to allow them to, pass away because of something that I really could have spent 2 or 3 hours and learn and not know. And then just to speak on what you were saying about the people in the community as well, for as kids, the more I watch the news, I see a lot of young teenagers that are being shot and, left in the street to die. And so I actually have been thinking about reaching out to the coroner, Leon Jones, to kind of find out um, his perspective on what does he think the odds would have been if someone would have actually stayed on scene and did like a stop the bleed with that person. And stop the bleed is just pretty much mean applying pressure. So whether they took the shirt off their back to hold on to that wound or whatever, if they would have applied pressure and stopped the bleed, there could be a lot of more people probably still alive versus just a gunshot wound and then everybody scatters and leave. Or they go quick to get on Facebook Live to make a video versus saving a person's life.
I'm gonna give you a scenario. I was like 17, 18, staying in Unionville. There was a car wreck. A guy had stole a car. He ran a stop sign, but he hit a guy on a motorcycle, flipped the
Mm-hmm.
guy over. The guy was laying in the street bleeding out. So the whole community rushed up there to see what was going on. No one knew what to do. Just imagine, and he died in front of us. Just imagine if someone knew how to handle him. Like
Exactly.
people in the crowd were like, okay, should we do this? Should we do that? You hear people saying, no, just leave them. No, I need to do this. Then no one know what to do.
And right. And at the end of the day, that time is ticking away and that person is losing blood or losing consciousness or the heart is stopping. And once that heart stops, that's cutting off oxygen to the brain, which is which is therefore causing brain damage. And there's only so much time you have at that point.
Facts. Facts. Let me go back to Rhonda. She says it is good to be certified. I had to perform CPR on my mother about a year ago. Save her life. Correct, Wanda? You
That's
can't,
awesome.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. You needed that. This Facebook user, they said, do you also teach the Heimlich maneuver along with CPR?
Yes, they stopped using the name Heimlich maneuver. But within the first aid portion of the class, they do talk about choking techniques for adults and infants. And like you were saying earlier, a lot of kids under the age of 5, actually, a lot of those hospitalizations or ER visits are due to choking. Kids choke on balloons, like you said, pennies, coins, just a lot of things that kids put in their mouth and they choke. And then a lot of times the parents have to wait. You're sitting there having a person with something lodged in their throat and they can't get air, and you're waiting on the ambulance to come when technically you could have just started pumping in the back of that child to try to bring up what they have lodged in their throat.
So what is the Heimlich maneuver called now?
They just pretty much say chest and back thrust. It's
Really?
something legal due to the lawsuit of whoever the Heimlich guy is with the family name.
Okay.
And so they've taken his name out of the actual books and stuff.
You got to be kidding me.
Mm-mm.
That's another issue
Yeah.
I have with the world that we live in.
Yeah,
No
that's
knock
just
to the Heimlich guys, family, Mr. Heimlich, Mrs. Heimlich, the Heimlich children, whatever.
yeah.
However, we are so happy, suit happy.
Mm-hmm.
If we find something wrong with something, we're gonna try to sue that company. Man, forget all that. We've been saving lives with this. I've been knowing it was the Heimlich maneuver since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
I actually it's crazy when I sit back when I was just thinking about me becoming into this role. Back when I was in middle school, maybe high school, I'm not sure. But anyway, my mom made me do volunteer work. And so one of my volunteer assignment was at the American Red Cross. Um, and I never in a million years thought that I would end up back doing CPR, you know. And back then I wasn't instructed anything because I was only like 13, 14 years old. But I used to actually get to sit in on the classes and help set up or break the equipment down. And so, like I say, I just never in a million years thought that I would end up back and this would be what I'm doing for a living.
You know, God has a funny way of doing things. You
Exactly.
know,
Yep.
we never know what our calling may be, but He does, and He's gonna
Mhm.
put it on you one way or the other.
Yep. And I enjoy it. I mean, I get to travel. I go to different places. I meet different people. Um, And just to hear the other stories that other people share that, hey, like how Miss Rhonda just shared, she had to save her mom. Or when you get people in class and be like, well, hey, I know that my mom now has lung cancer. Is this gonna help her? How can I make sure she's comfortable? And just make sure that those people are educated and know that okay, if that emergency comes, yes, of course you're gonna be nervous. But just think of you're saving a person's life.
So, okay, when you instruct these classes, what
Hmm.
all do you guys go over? If you don't mind giving me a quick rundown.
Okay, so basically now, because when we started out back in, like I said, when I was volunteering, all classes just had to be in-person classes. That was just the tradition of it. Well, a couple of years ago, they started doing what they call blended classes, where technically the students or recipients could actually purchase the video portion and watch at home or wherever they have an internet connection. And then they can now come in and just bring us a certificate of completion saying that they did complete the online version. And it's actually a test on there to show that they did complete it. And then they can come to an instructor such as myself, and we would just do the hands-on teaching, what you see right in that picture now. So a basic class, it just depends. So that class right there was done at a Walgreens. So with COVID, the pharmacy CDC, they are now allowing the pharmacy aides and techs to actually be able to administer COVID vaccinations. So in order for them to administer the COVID vaccinations, they actually had to become CPR certified. So this right here was what they call a blended class. All of them watched the videos on their own. They brought me their certificate of certification. And then we just got in the room, and then I had to actually go through and show them the actual techniques and how to do the hands-on compressions.
So let
Um,
me let me ask you something. If you can save your spot right now, you said that anyone who administers the COVID vaccination has to be CPR certified. Why is that? Is that because reactions that can happen after getting the vaccination?
Correct. And they need to be able to recognize certain signs if that person. So in the first aid class, we review things such as fainting, shock, anaphylactic shock. Well, they need an epinephrine pen. Some people, that's one of the main things with that COVID vaccination. A lot of people are having an allergic reaction to it. So within that first aid class, they learn how to use the epinephrine pen, also known as an EpiPen. So it teaches them all of that. So yeah, once they're in that class, they learn all that. So if they did administer a vaccination and for whatever reason that person passed out, they know the proper technique just to kind of maybe get them over to a designated area, let them lay on their side, till they get their composure back. But if they actually fall out and their actual heart starts beating, then they know to start performing CPR.
Okay. Okay. That's nice there. I ain't gonna lie to you. I
Yeah.
was talking to my sister before I came on, and she was telling me that because she went and got her vaccine shot.
Mm-hmm.
So when they give you the shot, they make you stay there to
Mm-hmm.
see if you are going to start having a reaction. Now it all makes sense. Okay, these people are certified to
Mm-hmm.
perform CPR, administer EpiPen, you know what I'm saying, to
Mm-hmm.
save your life. So yeah, it all makes sense. That goes hand in hand.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years back, right after I became an instructor, I took my son, went with some family, we went to Wild Adventures, and a guy ended up I didn't see what happened. I just ended up being able to see them pulling a young black male out of the water. He looked to be about 15 to 17 years of age. There was not a parent around at that time. I'm not gonna say a parent wasn't there at the park, but you know how your kids just probably wandered off in the water, wherever. But they pulled him from the water and everybody was just standing around like what to do. So due to us being on the property of Wild Adventures, they have trained their staff. So for them, they were told, just make sure to keep the scene safe and keep everybody back. But as a trained instructor, every minute that child was laying there without getting oxygen to the brain was causing damage. And so, like I say, it's just very important to know, to be able to respond and know how to respond, because every minute does count.
Every minute
And
does count, and I'm glad you guys were on the scene. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because you never know what can happen. Let me do this real quick. I got somebody with a comment. They said, "Are CPR and first aid classes available to children? If so, how young can they start?"
Actually, yes. My son is 12 and he's been knowing it for like the past at least 2 years. As long as they're able to come in and do those chest compressions, if they have enough strength to where they can actually compress down, then they're old enough to do it. A test is not required at the end. We do have tests that they can take, that anybody can take. Most of the time, they only administer a test or actual handwritten test is if an employer requires it. Or, like, say, for instance, with daycare workers, they're governed by Bright from the start here in Georgia. So, if that was a requirement of the state saying that whoever takes it have to have an exam, but other than that, an exam is not required. So, as long as that child can come in and actually do the maneuver, then they can be certified. In
So,
addition to that, I also just want to know, I personally, I've been saying I would come out and do free hands-on demonstrations to any kids that want to know it. So if you have a church group or a youth group, that would not give you a certification card. However, just to come out and do free hands-on demonstration, or they can come to me in my office. We can do a one-on-one, or it could be a group. But I'm willing to do free hands-on demonstrations to anybody because I just think it's very important to know. And then to also speak on, to go back when you were speaking about, being able to sue and all that stuff. We are covered by the Good Samaritan law. So if you were out doing CPR, most of the time if you're doing CPR accurately, you're actually going to break a rib or two if you're doing it. And so that's not for you to worry about. If you break a rib or leave a bruise on a person, they cannot sue you once they are resuscitated or whatever they had, because you're covered by the Good Samaritan law.
great information. Great information. Rhonda, you the new chat MVP, by the way. She said, "How much is the class? Is it Red Cross or Heart Saver? When is the class?" Like, I'm guessing she's saying like your classes.
Okay, I know what you're saying. So I am an instructor for American Red Cross, as well as American Heart Association, as well as American Safety and Health Institute. So I have 3 different platforms that I can provide classes to. I mean, training from. And that's just because some places of employment will specify it has to be American Red Cross, or some will specify it has to be American Heart Association. I know all of my college students I get, like any students entering medical school, anything medical, they all are required to have American Heart Association. But just to go back, so yeah, I can do all three of those depending on which one you may need. The class prices vary because we as instructors, we have to buy the cards ourselves. We buy the cars, we buy all the equipment, and so then we turn around and have to pretty much add it into our price. But pretty much a basic first aid, CPR, and AED class is about $75.
Let's go. About
Mm-hmm.
$75 per person. And you would do those classes for like an individual if, like, let's say Rhonda, even though she says she already knows it, let's say Rhonda wants to just learn on her own. She can contact you and you will do one-on-one sessions, correct?
Oh yeah, I do one-on-one. I mean, like I know some instructors they won't teach a class unless they have 5 people in a class or something like that. I don't turn down anyone. No, I mean, unless it matters to you about the class size, it don't matter to me. So we can do a class with one person, me and you, or 10 other people. You know.
See, see the thing about that, this is life saving, life
Mm-hmm.
changing. So, shoot, if only one person shows up, they learned a skill that can save someone's life.
Exactly.
You know, look how many people drown a year. Look how many people get shot. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, get shot, they bleed out in the street. Like I said, I saw a dude get hit, laying in the street, bleeding to death. No one knew how to help him. If just one person takes that class, it can save an infinite number of lives. Um, from a toddler to a teenager to
Mm-hmm.
an adult, you can save the life of somebody, whether that's someone close to you or someone random.
Exactly. Yep.
So, as far as Affinity, your business, you're local here in the Middle Georgia area, correct?
Correct. Yep. I have an office in downtown Macon on New Street. I've been there since I started business about 3 years now. Um, and due to growth, I hope to be moving soon, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. But I definitely want to look for more spacing. Actually, as of today, I'm now a nationwide training site for American Heart Association.
Oh,
So therefore, I just want to be able to offer as many classes as I can at a time. And it's much more that we offer than just CPR. We may offer blood-borne pathogens. A lot of EMTs and have to have that class. That class right there, it just tells you how to handle blood, or any type blood-borne pathogen, making sure they're handling that the correct way. We also teach a class called Basic Life Support for Healthcare Providers. So when your doctors and nurses come in, they're not taking the regular CPR first aid anymore. They're taking this specified class called BLS, or Basic Life Support for Healthcare Providers. Excuse me. So we actually teach them more than just CPR and first aid. There are multiple classes. So right now I'm looking to expand to actually bring on more instructors and offer more classes, to be able to better help the community.
listen, man, if y'all in the Middle Georgia area, y'all want to learn more, y'all want to learn some CPR, some first aid, something that can save your loved one's life, something that you can carry on with you for the rest of your life. Because listen, this stuff really ain't going nowhere. As long as we're having people, there's a chance that somebody can choke on something. There's a chance that somebody could be losing blood. These are
Mm-hmm.
life changing things that you can learn and know and just keep with you for your life. Now, since we're on business, you have this business, you're also the co owner of this business, correct?
Yes,
Now, let me make that bigger for my people. Harold Boy Vendings Incorporated. What
correct.
is
So that's a business that my son and I created. I definitely wanted him to get into entrepreneurship. When I started my personal business, I took him with me to planning and zoning to show him how I got my business license. I took him to the bank with me to open up my business bank account. So I just made him involved in the whole process. And then we finally got with my business. So then we got to a point where it was like, okay, well, what can I be doing to make some money? Oh, I want to do something. And so I just researched some things that were kid friendly. And so I narrowed that list down. Out of the list that I did find, I was like, let's find something that I know that I'm still going to be able to have the time to do as a single parent, where I can help him as well as still do what I'm doing. And so once I narrowed the list down and I presented it to him, we chose vending machines. And that's what we've been doing now since 2019. So for Christmas, he didn't know it. That Christmas, December the 25th, 2019, he woke up to five bubblegum machines. And I did his, Secretary of State. He's registered with the state. Has an EIN, he has a business checking and all of that. And so we placed those five machines, and from there we've just been growing.
So let me get with this, because vending is a great form of passive income, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to my people for the last few years. We've been trying to figure out different ways to have passive income. Vending
Mm-hmm.
is one of them. Being lazy, I haven't gone out and bought a vending machine of any type, a gumball, a drink machine, a snack machine. These things can be a great way to make money. So if anyone's out here trying to learn some more ways to make money, because the more streams of income that you have,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely you are to be successful.
Yeah. And he gets to see
How
that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You got it. Go ahead. The
Okay,
floor
no,
is yours.
I was just saying he gets to see that. So when we first started going out to collect, like you may take a machine to a location and you leave that machine there. And so then you go back weeks later and all you're doing and you collect your money out the machine. So it was like you're collecting, whatever your amount that you made out, and you didn't even have to be on site to do that. That didn't require you to stand there and do any physical labor. And so that's what I was trying to, just let him to know you can make money in your sleep, basically. And that's what we do.
And that's what passive income is. Listen, I had a
Correct.
customer right before COVID hit, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
He had a flat tire while out on his route. And I'm thinking he's on his route delivering like newspapers or something like that. He was on his route collecting and restocking gumball machines.
Exactly. Yep.
He showed me how much money he made.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I need to get into this. This is something that can really benefit me, my family, my friends. Shoot, anyone out there who's paying attention to this. Um, what's the goal for him? Well, you, him, and y'all's business.
We definitely want to become a statewide vendor. Um, and we definitely want to grow it. And then eventually, as we grow, it just depends. Like now that we're more in the entrepreneurship role of it, I'm actually thinking of, creating the routes and then just turning around and selling them. Because a lot of people don't want to go out and try to find the locations, or they're just intimidated or they're scared. But even right now, my 12-year-old, he knows he has his own sales pitch. He knows to go into a location and I'll just ask them, hey, would you be interested in letting us place one of our machines in here? And you make sure you tell them the benefit. Yeah, he even knows how to put his own machines together now. I mean, he had to learn it all, because I'm like, what happens if a machine breaks? You got to be able to repair it and put it back together. So that's him putting together one of his gumball machines. Um, but yeah, he knows how to go in a location and tell them, the benefits of having it. If you have a snack and drink machine or a gumball machine in your business, for kids, it's definitely attract kids if you're in a kid friendly environment. But also if you're just even in an office setting, it's something for your employees and or customers. Most employees, run late because they're too busy trying to leave the office within that 30-minute break and run there. But if you got that machine on site, then boom, that cuts back on residual time, them having to go back and forth. So we just, it's about selling and then not being afraid to go in and actually ask the people, can you place a machine in their location? And so basically, yeah, that's what we're probably heading towards. Pretty much being what we call like a vendor locator, locating the vendor places for them. Go ahead and already have a call, work out the agreement with the actual business owner, and then they just buy the route from us.
That sounds amazing to me. Let me ask you this, because it's a starting process to it. As far as
Mm-hmm.
finding vending machines, how easy is that, or how hard is it?
It's actually not as hard as I thought it was going to be, especially if you willing to buy brand new. I would never suggest buying brand new machines starting out unless yeah, I just still wouldn't recommend it, period. But if you go on Facebook now, like the marketplace, Craigslist, you can find used vending machines. Now, all of our gumball machines, the small machines like that, they are all brand new. But any of the full line, that's what they call full line vending when you actually have drinking chips, the snack. All of those start out used, and you can actually find nice used ones with or without card readers on them. That's like the newest thing now is getting a machine with a card reader on it. That way you just don't miss any money.
That's fire. So it's very easy going on Facebook Marketplace,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon,
Yep.
um, Craigslist. What's some
Uh-huh.
prices that they might start off with, like a little gumball machine like the ones we have here? What might they start off as?
So if it's just one, they call them heads. So if it's a single head, you may can find a single head for about 99. Or a double head or a triple head, and that's like quad right there. The more heads you have, the more you're gonna pay for them. But either way, to go in, say for instance, if you bought just a single head and put it in a barbershop, like we have a one of our machines in a local barbershop here. Um, with that place there, we've paid for that machine 10 times over. A lot of people actually go to the barbershop and beauty shop, and it's been a great hit in there. And so when we go to collect, I mean, what we paid for one machine, we can get back in 2 weeks. That's just off gumballs and M&Ms. That doesn't even talk about, like I say, the full line vending machines that have your drinks, chips, snacks, all that type stuff.
If anyone's watching this, I get into my spiel. If you're looking to get into a form of passive income, this would be perfect. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do much. Just keep the maintenance up, keep it filled up. And
Yep.
once you learn the routine, you can go out to these places and say, okay, I know that I need to come out here every other week to check on this machine because of their volume. Okay, I know I need to come out to this other place
Exactly.
every 3 weeks to check on it because of their volume. Once you get a routine down pat, easy.
And that's exactly what we did. I just created a sales spreadsheet and made location one, location two, location three, what day we check it, the amount we pulled out. And then and first we started just going like, we would check them every 2 weeks. That wasn't a good turnaround for some locations. Then it became we would check them once a month. And so then once we established the pattern of which machines were being utilized and depleted the most, then that's when we had to kind of change the shift around. So for instance, the one at the barber shop, which is like I said, more favorable, I guess, we have to go there every 2 weeks versus the one we actually have one at Mellow Mushroom. We don't have to go there as quite as often. So it just depends on the location and the volume. And see, then the good thing about it is when you get into like the full line vending machines, those credit card readers, all that's electronic now. So technically, if you're gonna buy a route from someone, back in the day, a person used to could, you know, lie to you and tell you, oh yeah, buy this machine and this route, and we making $800 a week, blah blah blah. Now with the card reader, you can say, show me the sale, show me the receipt before you pay a route, because you can get gig that way. So it's good to be able to see those numbers and now to know if you actually want to invest in that particular route or that actual location machine.
Look, I got this Facebook user. They got another one for you. They said, what sites did you go to find kid friendly businesses?
Actually, I didn't go to a particular site for that. And I did just Google. So yeah, just Google kid friendly businesses, a businesses that kids can start, however you want to word it, but just make sure those keywords are in there. And that's what we did. And like I said, it came up with a list like such as lemonade stands and the typical, like all the girls are doing the lip gloss now and the body scrubs. It was just like a long list of things that kids can do. And so, like I say, I wanted something that I would be able to, as the parent, because I'm the driver, he can't drive right now. I had to make it something that I knew I could be able to be a part of to help him as well. And so with that, by us not having to go do those machines every day, um, and that picture right there, he's at an actual car center. So we have them at car lots, we have them in restaurants, have them in barbershops. They're just in various places throughout the city, and we're actually going to be expanding. I got a dealership in Atlanta that has gave us an invite to put some machines in there. So we'll be expanding that route, and for the summer, that's what he's gonna be doing.
Listen, if y'all want some great income, a good extra stream of income, one that doesn't require a lot of, you know, hands-on, you know what I'm saying? You don't have
Hmm.
to micromanage this machine. It's going to pretty much do what it does.
Hmm.
This is something you should get into. You, your children, whoever. Like she said, she did it for her son as a Christmas present, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Come on, man. Like, y'all, this is creative. And we
Yeah, I told
believe,
him, I was like, "You too big. You already have an Xbox. It's not tore up. We're not just gonna keep buying toys and that type stuff." And don't get me wrong, he's a kid, so we did buy some toys. But the bulk of that Christmas that year, I was like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna focus on, starting that business." And actually, we're now in talks of his second business that he's gonna be doing.
come on, man.
Hmm.
Come on, man.
And
And
it's
look,
all stuff that's kid friendly. Like I was telling him, like he goes to a little boys group over on Bartlett Street with the Fathers Among Men group. So some of the business ideas I have, I'm like, you know what, to help those young boys too, once we get our second business going that we're in the talks of, we're gonna possibly be reaching out to some of those males to see if they can, be a part and help us, and that's giving more jobs to more of our kids.
listen, man. That's a nice way to think there. And shout out to the boys among now what is it?
Fathers Among Men.
Fathers among men. I don't know how I
Hmm.
botched their name, but shout out to them. Everyone over there with them. They have a nice organization. They're doing nice things for the community. You thinking of them selfless because you don't have to include them in what you and your son are doing. However, since he's interacting with them, it's very selfless of you and very courteous of you to want to include them in what y'all have going on.
Yeah, I'm from a low socioeconomic background area. I come from off L Street, South Macon. Um, I maybe didn't have some of the same struggles that everybody had, but we did have struggles. My mom was a single parent. So I just know what it's like to be in those areas. And I just feel like I thank God I had people in my life that just always made sure I saw proper ways to try to build income or do things like that. And so our thing is now is to try to start up businesses, and instead of, try to maybe get some of these kids. Everything that with my son that I do is definitely going to be kid friendly. So it'll be something that he can find another 16, 17-year-old, even another 12-year-old if they have the transportation or something like that to do. Whether it's cutting grass or trash, lunch, or just whatever it is. Let's try to bring in the kids and keep them off the street. And I just want them to know that, I think to a lot of them, they think selling drugs is the way to go, and that's like one of the main things I kind of emphasize to my son. Like, you can make money other ways. It doesn't have to be that, because I know that's what seems flashy or what seems appealing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what you said something about giving them something to do. We look
Mm-hmm.
to the community to give them something to do. Sometimes as a parent or as the parent, it should be on us. Like you went out and found something friendly for your son to do, kid friendly. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Something constructive, something that's gonna grow him in the future. We talking about he could be on the Fortune 500 list, business mogul, Birdman, P. Diddy, Jay-Z. I know he over there. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
listen, we about to shut this thing down. But before we do, let me take this off the screen. Where is it? Okay. Let me make sure that's right. You know, I like to play games with my guests.
Oh God.
I told you you're not
I
exempt
forgot
from
about it. I forgot about it. That's okay. I'm ready.
it. Listen, Selentria, I would like to play a game. And with you, I'm going to do something called rapid fire. Let me get my banner going. I'm going to do rapid fire. You see the gun at the end? So pretty much, I'm going to put the clock on the screen. I just put it on the screen. I'm
Okay.
going to make it large. I'm going to throw a word at you or a phrase at you. Whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind to associate with that word or phrase, that can be
Mhm.
your answer. There's no right or wrong answers. At the end of the day, at the end of the game, there's no prize. You just completed it. The
Okay.
clock will start when you answer my first question or when you throw out your first answer. And I'm
Okay.
going to start you off with something like success,
Affinity Care Solutions.
life,
Must be nice.
family.
God.
What do you strive to be?
um, I just try to be a decent human being and try to help my fellow teammates, fellow members around me.
Favorite food,
Shrimp.
least favorite food.
Brussels sprouts.
What do you wish to accomplish?
My ultimate goal is to have a homeless shelter and just do more things with the homeless.
Selentria,
The best I can be.
failure,
Not an option.
the devil.
Who is that?
Who is that? Let me get that off the screen, man. You have completed the game. I appreciate you for doing that. Let me get to this comment. Boom. Let me take that off. Matter of fact, we're gonna get you back on. Shout out to my sister. She said you dropped a lot of great gems tonight, and that's what we aim for.
And I know we closing out, but I do want to say, because I feel like I didn't touch on everything that I need to touch on. With Affinity Care Solutions, we not only do CPR training, we also are a state of Georgia licensed private home care provider, meaning that we can hire aides and nurses to send into homes to help elderly and disabled people. And to also let you know that home health services are not just for the elderly and disabled. We have a lot of people that need help when they've had after surgery, post-surgical care. Kids need actual home health services. So it's not just elderly and adults, but we also, like I said, we are a licensed state of Georgia provider. And then we also do drug testing. We do in-house drug testing and on-site. So we go out to corporations and do just like we go out to do our CPR training, we also do drug testing, whether it's urine testing or hair samples, mouth swabs. We also do that as well. And so that's what I just want to touch bases on.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I'm gonna throw it to the audience. If y'all have any questions, any statements y'all want to make towards Selentria, speak now or forever hold your peace. For any business owner out there, you want to do business with me, you want to advertise on my show, this could be where your advertisement is placed. I can talk about your business. I can show a video of your business. I can run a ticker like you see at the bottom of the screen with your business info. We could just put that right there. I can show pictures. I could do non-audio videos. Anything that you want to do with advertising. You want to advertise with me, hit me up. My email is always open. That's mridertalks@gmail.com. Inbox me on Facebook. Holler at me on Instagram. I'm always willing to talk business. And since nobody chimed in, I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out. It's your boy, Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. You see it. You see it. When you see that shiny forehead, man, you know who it is. You know who it is. Oh, you know what? Selentria, I do have someone. If you want to come back on, they do have a question for you.
And that's fine. I'm here. I don't mind.
Facebook user. They said, what's your info to contact you about the info you just shared?
Oh, okay. So I do have a website for my affinity, not for the gumball, but for the affinity, it's www.myaffinitycare.com. I also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Our contact number is 478-508-8313. And if you want to send an email, it's info, which is info at myaffinitycare.com. I'm willing to answer any questions. I actually also do consulting. I have helped a couple of home care agencies around here start up. I do write the policies and procedures and sell them. So if you're trying to start a personal care home or a home care business, then I can help you.
Thank you for coming on, Selentria. Um, I'm about to close this thing out. Thank you for dropping the info. And also, anybody who's watching this, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, there are links to the Affinity Care Facebook and Instagram page. I will go back and put them up for the website, so you guys can get with them. Also for the email, I will put links in the description. So when you watch this video, there will be links to hit you up. I mean, to contact you, you know what I'm saying, through those links. I thank everybody for tuning in. Let me hit that solo mode. Let me do it like I do it every week around here. It is your boy, Mike Ryder, Mr. Accountability, the man behind the microphone. As you see it, like I always do it, man. I want y'all to have a blessed day. I want y'all to be blessed. I hope y'all to be prosperous. Until we meet again, be blessed. I'm out. I love it.